Good morning, everybody. So last week, we celebrate the day of the training wheel of Dharma. At the same time, so we received teaching from His Holiness the Dalai Lama based on the lamp of the path to enlightenment. So today is Sunday. This means another day, another life, another day for studying and practice Dharma. So every morning when we wake up, first we must realize I'm very happy, I'm very lucky person to able to wake up this morning, to able to see things around me. Particularly, I'm very fortunate to have another day for studying Dharma and practice Dharma for another day. So many of you have been attending Dharma class with me more than, I think, 6 months. For the 6 months, I hope you learn, you knew little bit how to control your negative thoughts, particularly how to control anger, hatred, anxiety, depression. Anger, hatred, anxiety, depression minds are very negative minds to bring very unnecessary problems in our daily life. Also, I hope you knew a little bit how to increase, generate your own positive thoughts and positive minds. And also, I hope you knew how to be positive every moment. There's a reason have to be positive. Any difficulty, the difficult situation cannot last forever. Doesn't matter how much difficulty you have, how much problems so you have been going through. They are always have opportunity to have a good things our daily life. For example, there's a night, the darkness kind of duration. After darkness, there's always light. When you have difficulties and problems, you should not be discouraged. Always try to be positive person, live with a hope to be good thing happens. For example, there's a night, there must be a day. Yes, there's a day, then there's a night. So when you are very successful person, very happy person, everything, you are very content with your life. You should not have a very strong kind of ego. You should not have a strong, pride. The good things also can be changed. This means life is like that. For example, yesterday, I think, let's say, everybody, we were very worried for future, like tomorrow, next month, next year, after next year. But when we woke up early morning, we are already, in the present moment. Whatever happened yesterday, whatever happened in the past, those are already past. They are not in front of us today. What will going to happen in the future, they are not yet come in front of us. Therefore, there's no reason to be anxiety about your future, your children's futures, or your relatives' future. But still we have to do preparation. We must do, a lot of the mental preparation. So the last year and this year, so everybody very scared about the COVID-19. COVID-19 is kind of, new flu, new virus. It's not that serious kind of, like a disease. It can be, the disease, sickness can be curable. Also the virus able to stop very soon. Therefore, we should not feel too anxiety about future. And also, we have to do a lot of mentally preparation because this whole world, the environment is changing rapidly. The global warming, increasing very rapidly. Now you can see all over the world that now the weather become, we say the weather become crazy. Actually, no, the human being become crazy. We have been cutting a lot of forests, a lot of trees. We destroyed, the natural kind of the environment. Therefore, all the global warmings, the natural disaster, we say natural, actually not natural disaster, is depend on human beings. So in the future, we have to face, we have to face so many difficulties. If you know it will happen, when it actually happen, you won't feel so scared. Therefore, everybody should not be very anxiety about future, should not be too worried about life. I told you this morning, just before, there's a darkness, there's a light. There's a light, the light cannot be, there. After light, after light, there's a darkness. This is, this means this is the light. You can see many of your friends, neighbors, suddenly they, became very successful. Their business really, increase. But within 10, 20 years, all the prosperity, business go down. So therefore, every time, every day, we must be very calm person, try to calm your mind, and need to realize the truth about everything. If you realize the truth, after you realize the truth, second, you need to accept the truth. Realizing is very easy, but accepting is very difficult. For example, when our dearest one separate from us, we realize the person which you very much like, the person has gone, we realize. But we cannot accept the tragedy. So first we must realize, second we must accept with a strong, mind, with a strong heart. Because last, today, teaching from His Holiness said to the audience, we need the physical, facilities, the material things. We must have a house to live. We must have a food to eat. We must have a clothes to wear. If you totally ignore, food, clothes, house, job, position, then how you can practice Dharma? If you only, very much focus on the material things, want to have a, big house with a big swimming pools, with a 10, 15, workers who work for you in home, who cares the swimming pool, who cares the cars, who cook for you. If you have a very kind of excessive attachment, it brings you a lot of sufferings and problem. We must have a house to live. We must know what kind of house we need. We need food. We need to eat food. Also, we must know how much we must eat, how many times we must eat. Because Buddha teaching, teach us contentment. Contentment doesn't mean you should not have so many things. Mean you must content whatever you have. If you cannot make more than what you have, if you really know you cannot make more than what you have, then you must be very happy whatever you have. Contentment. For example, when we order food, for example, when we go for lunch, actually our stomach size is not big than our hands full, just not bigger than like the hands. But we order a lot of food and drink. At the end, we cannot finish what we ordered. Then, some people are very good. Whatever left over, they ask to, tap out. But many people, they order a lot of food. They eat 25%, throw away 75%. Therefore, we have all the natural disaster. We produce more than what we need. Right? Therefore, everybody must learn, realize impermanence. Nothing can last forever. Also, everybody try to be content, have a contentment over your life, your position, your job, was content with your families, with your children. Because Buddha Shakyamuni taught contentment, impermanence. Right? So today we start our Dharma class based on the middle way, the middle meditation stage. At the beginning, first we start our Dharma class. I told all of you, we need to do recitation and chanting. Also, we need to study Dharma. The most importantly, we need to do meditation. Without meditation, you cannot transform yourself. Without meditation, you cannot really fully control our negative thoughts. You can control for short term. You cannot fully control. Therefore, meditation is very important. But I hope all of you have been, every day you do meditation, morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you have a free time, you must do meditation. Also, I said the free time, you need to have a free time. If you just follow what your mind thoughts, then you never have free time. So we must have a free time every day in the morning, afternoon, evening, particularly morning and evening. The morning, you can get up bit earlier, not like 3 a.m., 2 a.m., not maybe you can get up like a 5:30. Then 5:30 to 6:30. You have a 1 hour for study about the Dharma. Then half hour, then you can do meditation. Then 6:30, you can have a breakfast, then you can start your daily routine walk. And in the evening, usually most of you finish your daily routine, the daily walk, 6, 7, mostly finish like 5. Then go back to home, take a shower, have some snack, then do meditation. Therefore, meditation is very important. So today we start with the middle meditation stage, Acharya Kamalashila. At the first few is actually very similar with the lamp for the path to enlightenment. So I will go, we will go slowly. First, the friend page number 1, so friend page. In the Indian language, Bhavana karma. In Tibetan language, Gombe Rimba. So this is very Tibetan, unique tradition. At the beginning, when Dharma translate into Tibetan, they make a important rule. First, they must, write the book name in Sanskrit. The second, translate. That means the Dharma, which is flourished to Tibet, is come from India. The origin is Sanskrit. Then the next sentence you can say, homage to the youthful Manjushri. So before you start the translation, you must pay homage to omniscient, number 1. Number 2, Buddha and Bodhisattva, and Manjushri. This is a very important rule. Because when you read that, the translation homage, then you can realize, oh, this teaching include into Abhidharma. This teaching is a sutra, and this teaching is a Vinaya. Here, homage to the youthful Manjushri. Mean this teaching include into Abhidharma. Therefore, every morning after you woke up, you wash your face, then you visualize Manjushri, recite the Manjushri mantra maybe 100 times in order to develop the wisdom, in order to be more, wise person, Manjushri. Homage to the youthful Manjushri. That means in order to complete the translation, the translator, homage to Manjushri. Second, in order to recognize this teaching is included into Abhidharma. At the beginning, when you see the homage to Buddha and Bodhisattva, that means the teaching include into sutra basket. When you see at the beginning, they pay homage to omniscient. That means this teaching include into the Vinaya Sutra. Right? So, I said many times, the three sutra, meaning there's a three, content, three practices. Within the three, first, the Vinaya basket. The second is Abhidharma. Third is the Sutra basket. Because in our daily life, if you are ethical person, if your life live with the ethic, you already stop to doing a lot of bad things. That means practicing morality, practicing vows, help you to control your, the negative thoughts, control your negative action. If you have taken, the 7 precepts, so when you think I want to steal something, you have a thoughts. The thoughts not going to engage into action to steal the things because you remember I have a vows. Then the vows, practicing moral, control the negative thoughts, not let them engage into action. Second, in order to fully stop, in order to fully eliminate the negative thoughts, you need to realize the truth, like emptiness. Then, in order to continuously, go through the path, then you need the sutra teaching, like Lamrim. I shall briefly explain the stages of the meditation for those who follow the system of Mahayana Sutra. Right? I shall briefly explain the stages of the meditation for those who follow the system of Mahayana Sutra. Namely, we follow the Mahayana Sutra or Mahayana Sutra, namely, but our daily practice is more, close to the Hinayan system, Hinayana thought. Because first we think I I want to be happy, therefore I do recitation. I want to be happy, therefore I want to do Dharma practice. I want to be happy, therefore I'm doing this. You very much have we have a very strong self-centered attitudes. Namely, we are Mahayana practitioner. Actually, we are not. Therefore, the meditation for those who follow the system of Mahayana Sutras, the intelligent who wish to actualize omniscience, extremely quickly should make deliberate effort for fulfill cause and condition. If the person follow the Mahayana Sutra, the achievement is omniscient. So your final, achievement is omniscient Buddhahood, right? But achieving omniscience is not for your own benefit. Is mainly benefit for others. I think some of you many of you already attended the Hisuna's teaching. Then one girl asked question, why we need to accomplish the super knowledge, the clairvoyance, why we need to accomplish the super knowledge in order to benefit others, right? Because becoming Buddha is look like you are becoming perfect doctor, right? In order to become perfect doctor, you need to know the sickness and disease. So in order to know the sickness and disease very precisely, you need to rely on very important technology. Because this day we have MRI, all the machine in order to detect more precisely the sickness. Same way, the super knowledge is look like very sophisticated technology to detect the sickness very precisely. If you fully know the actual cause of the sickness, then you can give the right medicine to cure the sickness. Therefore, you can give a food and clothes and shelter to other. It's a temporal benefits. You cannot benefit for forever. The best benefit you can benefit other through giving teaching. Giving teaching doesn't mean you have to be like a guru, you have to be monks and nuns. No, giving teaching, you need to teach the person how to control your negative thoughts. In order to teach the Dharma, you need to know the mental disposition. You need to know the person, the mindset. Therefore, the super knowledge is very important to benefit others. The intelligent who wish to actualize omniscience, right? Omniscience extremely quickly should make deliberate effort to fulfill cause and condition. This is very important. If you link with the daily Dharma practice, in order to achieve omniscience, we need to actualize the omniscience extremely quickly. Then what we should do, we should make deliberate effort to fulfill its cause and condition. Is a very important kind of advice. If you want to achieve omniscience very quickly, extremely quickly, should deliberate effort, fulfill its cause and condition. These are omniscient. Second, this also we can link our daily life. If you want to, achieve very important achievement, then you must put the right effort. It causes condition to achieve it. But we have a common problem. Everybody want to achieve, the very important things, but they never put the diligent effort. It causes a condition. For example, everybody want to have a healthy body, right? Everybody wish to have a healthy body, don't want to be sick, don't want sickness. It's a very, right thought. But in our daily life, what we do, we eat a lot of food, a lot of drink, and the bad food, fast food. Now you can see the contradiction. You want to have a healthy body, you have been eating unhealthy food. Then how you can have a healthy body, right? Therefore, effort to fulfill it, cause and condition. Also, when many of you are quite young. When we are young, physically, we are healthy, we are very energetic, but we normally ignore about what should we eat, what should we eat, what should we drink. Then this careless accumulate, the causes and condition to have an unhealthy body. Therefore, if you want to have a healthy body, you must eat the right food, not just the right food, the right amount. Let's say, you want to have a healthy body, so you always, eat organic food. If you eat too much, every day eat a lot of organic food, definitely your body can become very unhealthy. That means right food, right amount. Also, exercising. The right exercise, the right amount. Right? Therefore, it's very important advice. What he said here, the intelligent who wish to actualize omniscience, who wish to achieve omniscience extremely quickly, they should make deliberate effort. Deliberate, effort, not just effort, deliberate effort. Fulfill its causes and condition. The next, page number 2. It is not possible for omniscience to be produced without causes. It is not possible for omniscience to be produced without causes. Right? There's also linked with the Dharma. If you want to be Buddha, right? But Buddha cannot achieve without causes and condition. In our daily life, whatever you wish to achieve, you must achieve through having the causes and condition. Again, we have a problem where we don't care about the actual cause and condition, but we just wish to achieve, something. You cannot. Therefore, many people, become very discouraged. For example, you want to be a very successful person. Why not? You must. You want to be a very successful person, but you are not putting diligent effort. It causes a condition. Then how you can be a successful person? It's a common problem. As a Buddhist, we have another common problem. So in order to achieve successful, instead of putting intelligent effort, it causes condition. You are very much, put effort for recitation, chant. You are just waiting, miracle thing happen. Never happen like that. Doesn't matter how many years, millions of years you chant. Not, there's such a nothing, that miracle happen to you. Right? Therefore, the right effort to the right cause condition, then the result will come. Even though you don't want, the result will come to you. Therefore, it is not possible for omniscience to be produced without causes. Also, you can change the sentence. It is not possible for bodhicitta to produce without causes. Right? The next sentence, because if it were, everything could always be omniscient. If the omniscient produce without cause, then, everything could be omniscient. Why not? If things were produced without reliance on something else, they could exist without constant, there would be no reason why everything could not be omniscient. That means everything depends on causal condition. Without causal condition, nothing can be happen. If something happen without causal condition, then we say without, if things were produced without reliance on something else, they could exist without constant, they must exist all the time. Why something exists, something not exists. For example, weather. We know the weather is changing every day. The weather changing is changing without causing condition. That means hot means always hot. Cold means always cold. We cannot see the changes. It's changing because causing condition. Also, when we read this sentence, what we have to learn, this morning I am not happy. The unhappiness not just come from without cause condition. There must be a causes and condition. You need to reflect on the cause and condition. Without reflecting the cause and condition, you just doing recitation, chanting to reduce the unhappiness. You cannot. While you are reciting or chanting, you feel very calm and happy because you totally forgot the problems. So after you stop your chanting, you become unhappy person because you never reflect why you are unhappy, why your friend not happy, why you are my family not happy, why my husband not happy. You never reflect the cause and condition. Therefore, these are another common problems. Therefore, since all functional things arise only occasionally, they depend strictly on their cause. Therefore, the condition phenomena is arise, the condition phenomena, functional phenomena are synonymous. Things arise only occasionally. Why things arising sometime, not all the time? Why something arise someplace, not every place? Why? That means causes condition. Right? Causes condition. Therefore, sometimes we are very happy. Why? There were causal conditions produce happiness. Why sometimes we are unhappy? The unhappiness also produce or arise from causal condition. In order to change the sufferings, in order to change the unhappiness, you must change the causes and condition for arising unhappiness. In order to continuously have a happy mind, you must put effort continuously the causes condition for producing happiness. Right? Therefore, if you want to be a happy person, you need to reflect the causal condition. If you don't want suffering, also you need to reflect on the causal condition which is produce unhappiness. Then causes condition can be two parts. One is the external condition, second is the internal condition, the inner condition. Mostly, we very much focus on external condition because many of you say, "Oh, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I want to have a holiday." So you want to go for holiday in order to have a relaxed mind, happy mind. Go for holiday. Then you believe if I get out from Singapore, go to like Tibet, like Bhutan, like Switzerland, you feel, oh, I will be very happy because the environment, it looks so clean, so beautiful, you believe the external condition. When you actually go there, also you have a lot of complaints, but the weather is so cold, not easy to go there, very inconvenience. Actually, you are focused very much about the external condition to have a happiness. So if you are the person who believe my happiness, in order to be happy, I need a lot of external condition. That means you don't have a right idea how to be happy person, how to have a happiness. This one, simply we can use the example, all the serious practitioner like Milarepa, Milarepa lived in the cave. Looked like he didn't have actual clothes. And he ate, I think, very simple, like a food. Sometimes he didn't have a food for maybe 1 week. I think that time the local people, when they saw Milarepa, they thought, oh, Milarepa was crazy. He has so many problems and sufferings. Yes, externally you can see he has a lot of suffering. Internally, he is a very happy, content. He has a lot of happiness and joyness. Because he knew my happiness should not be depend on the external things, should not depend on the physical things. Also, we must, because many of you very worried about losing your job, very worried about not earning enough money. If you are very much about not enough earning money, but you need to change your lifestyle. You don't want to change your lifestyle. You want to have a good breakfast, good lunch, good dinner, expensive clothes, expensive jewelry and shoes and makeups. You never have enough money. If you are very worried about your daily income, earning money, change your lifestyle. If you eat good breakfast, maybe simple lunch, simple dinner. Or you eat only the good lunch, no dinner, simple breakfast. Then you have enough money. Right? Therefore, so we really need to learn how to be happy within the generating the positive thoughts. Therefore, happiness comes with the two conditions. One, the external condition. Second is the inner condition. Among these two conditions, the inner condition is most important than the external conditions. Because you can see, many people can live very happily with a simple food, simple clothes, simple house. Also, you can see millions of people totally in suffering with a big house. Lot of problems, suffering with a lot of money. You have seen so many, people, particularly you have been seeing so many, your neighbors, they are very rich, have a big house, has a very expensive, like a 10, 15 cars. When you look at their face, you can see those people are not happy. And in the other hand, you can see someone has a very ordinary car, even though they don't have a car, but they can see the person is very happy, content, always go around with a smile, in a happy face. All the rich people, you can see they don't have a like a happy face, but they pretend I'm very happy. Therefore very expensive clothes, expensive jewelry, expensive watch, expensive phone, driving expensive car, ordering big food. Why they're showing? I'm very happy. I'm very good in. They're showing. The simple people who are truly happy, they don't need to show I'm happy. People can see, people can feel. Therefore, if you are Buddhist, if you follow Buddha teaching, try to have a happy life based on generating positive thoughts, reducing the negative thoughts. Therefore, here what is here. Therefore, since all functional things arise only occasionally, that means they depend strictly on their causes. Omniscience too is rare. Achieving omniscience is very rare. Like Buddha is very rare. Achieving Buddha is a very, very rare. Because it does not occur at all time and in all places. Because it depends on very particular causal condition, right? Condition. And everything cannot become omniscient. Therefore, it definitely depends on causes and condition. Right? So this chapter, you make a very simple conclusion as a beginner. Everything depends on causes and condition. My happiness depends on its cause and condition. My suffering is depend on its cause and condition. If I don't want suffering, I need to control the causes and condition, the arising suffering. I want happiness, I want to be a happy person, I need to increase. I need to have a cause and condition to be happy, to bring happiness. The cause has a two condition, the external and inner condition. The suffering also, suffering also arises through two conditions, the external, inner condition. For example, let's say today the weather is so hot. It's about, let's say, 50 Celsius. Then so many people become very unhappy, make a lot of complaint, because they cannot accept the external condition. And some people realize it's over 40 or 50 Celsius, so hot. They realize this is hot. But their mind cannot be affected by the hot weather. So we are very easy to affect it by the external things. Suffering also come through in two conditions, external and inner. If you have an inner, the right condition, the external condition cannot affect you in your life. It definitely depends on cause and condition. This is first, conclusion. Second, training the mind. Training the mind, right? Buddha taught how to train our mind. Without training your mind, you cannot be Bodhisattva, you cannot achieve Buddhahood, you cannot have a ultimate happiness. Therefore, training the mind. Also, from among these causes and conditions, you should cultivate correct and complete cause. If you put the wrong cause into practice, even if you work hard for a long time, the desired goal cannot be achieved. Right? Also, from among the causes and conditions, you should cultivate the correct and complete cause. Right? This is very important. It was true. If you put the wrong cause into practice, even if you work hard for a long time, the desired goal cannot be achieved. Therefore, we have been putting wrong effort. We put wrong cause into practice. Therefore, we cannot have any good progress in Dharma. Also, from among those causes and conditions, you should cultivate correct and complete causes. Correct, not just correct, complete. For example, if you wish to cook, let's say, laksa, that means you must have the right, correct condition. That means in order to cook laksa, what you need? The right, ingredients. Yeah, you have all the right ingredients, salt, oil, tomato, noodle, everything's there. But the oil is very little. Then it's a correct, but it's incomplete. There's a tomato or cook your laksa. The tomato is so little, it's not complete. Therefore, when you practice Dharma, first we need correct cause and condition. Second, the complete. Very important. Correct and complete. Right? Same way, so for example, in order to have a healthy life, we must have a correct condition, also complete one. No more, no less. So we are facing so many physical problems because we didn't put the right cause. We put the right cause, not the complete one. Something too much, something little, something too little. Right? Therefore, correct and complete cause. If you put the wrong causes into practice, even if you work hard for a long time, the desired goal cannot be achieved. It will be like milking a cow horn. Likewise, the result will not be produced when all the causes are not put into effort. For example, if the seeds or any other cause is missing, then the result, a sprout and so on forth, will not be produced. Right? Therefore, those who desire a particular result should cultivate it complete and unmistaken causes and condition. Like, milking a cow's horn. The result will not be produced when all the causes are not put into effort. For example, if there's a seed, so you want to grow something, yes, you have the seeds. or any other cause is missing, then the result, sprout, or so forth will not be produced. Therefore, those who desire a particular result should cultivate it complete and unmistaken cause and condition. Is also, you can link this sentence with your Dharma practice, also you can link with your daily life. Daily life. So who desire a particular result, any kind of particular result, right? Let's say, I want to be a healthy person. I want to have a healthy life. I want, the happy family. I want to have a happy co-worker. I want to have a happy neighbors. Then you must, should cultivate complete and unmistaken. Complete and unmistaken. If you have a complete and unmistaken cause condition, you can achieve whatever you wish to achieve. Then many people believe in the obstacles. Obstacles. Yes, when we going to achieve something, the obstacle is always there. The obstacle you can see as an obstacle. You can see the obstacle as a right condition, the good condition to achieve your achievement. For example, many people, become very unhappy when they see their enemy. If you truly practice compassion, when you see your enemy, you must be very happy to see, because you have a good, opportunity to practice compassion. Also, many people feel, very unhappy when there's a kind of problems around. If you are truly practitioner, all the, the undesirable events, undesirable thing happen, you can use as a important cause to generate happiness. Therefore, what we call in a Mahayana practice is, transforming the negative things into positive. Right? Therefore, what His Holiness said, last for the 2-day teachings, he said, there's no such a thing we can say is a, become obstacle in your practice. Everything can be caused. Everything can be conducive condition to practice your Dharma. So these are complete and unmistaken causes and condition. Complete and unmistaken, right? Please keep this one, what you need to do, think. In order to achieve omniscient Buddhahood, I must have the right, right and complete cause and condition to achieve omniscience. Then your daily life, everything you wish to achieve, you must achieve through the complete and unmistaken causes and condition. If you ask, now go more, link with the daily Dharma practice. If you ask, what are the causes and condition for the final fruit of omniscience? Generally, in order to achieve, particular fruits or results, you need to put effort for the right, complete, unmistaken, generally. Now, he asking, particular question, what are the causes and conditions for the final fruits, which is omniscience? Then humbly, what he said, Kamalashila, I, who am like a blind man, may not be in a position to explain by myself. Even though, look at, Kamalashila was a very high practitioner, very scholar, but he said here, I who am like a blind man. He said, I look like a blind person, may not be in a position to explain myself. He said, I cannot answer myself. What is the causing condition for the final fruits of the omniscience? He said, I don't have answer this question because I'm blind person. I don't know. Right? This is also very important advice for the teachers, master, guru. Many people say, oh, I will teach you Dharma. I will teach you Dharma. Look, they have a very strong, pride. Therefore, when we have a class in TBC at the Gelang, I said, my friends in the class. So I am a resident teacher. Yes, you can say, resident teacher, but I am a Xerox machine. I look like a Xerox machine. I just copy from the original text, pass you the copy. The copy is, I copied from the original text. It's not my own kind of idea, not come from my own knowledge. I said, yes, I'm a Xerox machine. Xerox machine can have a two. One is very good Xerox machine. They can copy exactly same, the color, the shape, everything. Also, we have a bad, Xerox machine. They can copy, little bit similar, not exactly. Exactly, teacher, guru, all the teachers, guru, they are copying from Buddha teachings. In all the Indian, 79 masters, they are copying from the Buddha teaching. Then they present to the student. But those are the good Xerox machine. Remember what Lama Tsongkhapa said at the beginning of the Lamrim? In order to train other, first you train yourself. Without taming yourself, you cannot tame other. Then how we should train ourselves? He said, practice the three mind training. Particularly practice the morality. Practice the Shila. Practice Shila doesn't mean you can teach people how to practice Shila. First, you must practice Shila yourself, then you can teach others about practicing Shila. Otherwise, you're talking about the sandalwood is so good, so expensive, this is good. Somebody asks, do you have? The person says, I don't have. Right? So therefore, it is so, look humbly, even though Kamalashila said, I who am like a blind man, may not be a position to explain by myself, but I shall employ the Buddha's own words, just as he spoke them to the disciple after enlightenment. But, many master has a very strong ego. Oh, they thought I'm very, knowledgeable. I know everything, but they're forgetting and they're copying from Buddha teaching. Therefore, he said, what this is question between Vajrapani and Buddha. So what is the question? The question is here, what are the causes and conditions for the final fruits of omniscience? The answer here, Vajrapani, Lord of the secrets, the transcendental wisdom of omniscience has its root in compassion and arises from causes that altruistic thoughts awakened mind of bodhicitta and the perfection of skillful means. Therefore, if you are interested in achieving omniscience, you need to practice these three. What are the three? Compassion, awakening mind, which is bodhicitta, and skillful means. So he answered, the right, the complete causes and conditions for achieving omniscience are compassion, bodhicitta, the skillful mean, the wisdom. These three are the right, complete, unmistaken cause to achieve omniscience. Right? Therefore, root in compassion and arising from a cause, the altruistic thoughts, the awakening mind of bodhicitta, and the profession of skill means. Therefore, if you are interested in achieving omniscience, you need to practice these three: compassion, the awakening mind of bodhicitta, and skillful. And also compassion arises here. Compassion arises from a cause, the altruistic thoughts, the altruistic thoughts. So also, most of us follow the Mahayana teaching, practice the Mahayana teaching. That means, what is our goal, which is we wish to achieve? Omniscience. Why we need to achieve omniscience? I want to benefit all sentient beings. What's the relation between achieving omniscience and benefit all sentient beings? So in order to benefit all sentient beings, we need to teach Dharma. We need to show how to be happy person, how to free from suffering. Therefore, we need omniscience to teach the Dharma. Right? Therefore, three cause and condition. So these three cause and condition is not just telling, it's an actual cause and condition. First, compassion. Compassion must arise through the altruistic thoughts. Mean you must have a sense of cares all sentient beings. So we are actually very lucky, very fortunate to, most of you live in Singapore. For you, quite easy to think about cultivating love and compassion all sentient beings, because you haven't seen the difficulty situation. Next day, if you are in prison, I don't know this, Singaporean prison condition. Next day, if you are in the prison in Philippines, you cannot imagine how you can really practice love and compassion. You never know today you will survive or not. So if you are this kind of condition, you really cannot imagine how you can practice love and compassion all sentient beings. Therefore, us, quite easy to imagine, very easy to cultivate love and compassion, because all the people who live around, they are not that kind of annoying person who always annoying you. Right? Therefore, without altruistic mind, cares all center. You always care, not really care, not just verbally say I care. You really care all sentient beings, then you have a compassion. When you have a compassion, then you have a love and kindness. That love and compassion, it depends on which one we must cultivate first. It depends on the practitioner. So compassion, the awakening mind of bodhicitta, and skillful means. So today we discuss a little bit about the skillful means. The skillful means is a very, very important kind of, technique in our life. Generally, so when we practice Dharma, we need to practice both the wisdom, or we can use the skillful mean and the methods. So you are practicing compassion. You have a very compassionate mind. You are a very compassionate person. But if you don't have a skillful mean or wisdom, then compassion brings you a lot of sufferings and problems. But you are a very compassionate person. So your neighbors know you are very compassionate. They never always ask something from you, fruit, clothes, slowly ask, borrow money from you. Then you are a very kind person, you borrow money. Today $10, next $100, next $1,000. Because they take advantage you to be kind, compassionate person. That time you need to use the wisdom, right? In our daily life, the wisdom is very, very important. You have to be very wise, compassionate. Compassionate, also very wise. If you're only a very wise person, you know how to cheat. You know how to deceive. Because you don't have a really heart. Right? Therefore, if you have a very compassion, no wisdom, that means you have a very valuable object, but you are blind. That means people, you don't know the valuable things. So skillful means is very important in our daily life. If you are you are mother, if you are father, if you have a children, you need skillful men. Particularly this day, looking after children not easy at all. If you give a lot of advice, the children not going to happy with you. If you don't give advice, your children going to spoil. Also, same your brother and sister. Therefore, be skillful when you give advice. Be skillful when you give a gift to them. Skillful when you do something for others. Very important. Skillful means. Because in our life, many people, deceived it, cheated, because you are not enough wise. You don't have a skillful mean. If you have a both, good heart, skillful mean. Skillful mean, good heart, you can have a perfect life. Wisdom lets you know which is right, which is wrong, which is you should do, which one you should not do. Right? Without wisdom, you fall into one extreme. Therefore, today we can stop here. Later we have a discussion class, Q&A. That means awakened mind and bodhicitta and skillful means. The skillful means you can apply with any kind of field. So thank you so much. We can have a discussion class. It's 11:16. Hello everybody. Any question?
Well, Dharma brothers and sisters, is our Q&A sessions now. You may raise your hands or you can type in a chat window. Or you can simply unmute yourself. Yes, we have our first questions from Christine.
Mm-hmm.
Venerable Geshe-la.
Yes.
I'm trying to link these two, the 3 baskets and the 3 higher trainings.
Mm-hmm.
one, which under the 3 higher trainings, is morality. I
Mhm.
think that to the 3 baskets of Vinaya.
Yes.
Then the second one is concentration in the 3 higher trainings.
Yes.
Do I link it to Abhidharma?
It's a sutra basket.
Oh, Sutra.
Yeah.
Then the last one on wisdom, I link it to Abhidharma.
Yeah. Sorry. Abhidharma.
Abhidharma.
Yeah.
Can I explain a little bit on Abhidharma? I'm not very clear on that one. Thank you.
So this we named 3 basket based on the most the main subject. For example, many of you have been studying the ornament of the Prajna Paramita by Maitreya Buddha, right? This include into sutra baskets. So the man is also explaining emptiness, impermanence, selflessness. The man content is like a practice, the path, how to achieve Buddhahood. Also, many of you have been studying the enter into middle way. Is also, you can say at the beginning, it talk about 3 kinds of compassion, then bodhicitta, then 10 bhumis. The man subject, the man contents is start from the 6 bhumi, enter into emptiness. So the man, content is emptiness. Then Vinaya, also when you open the Vinaya, like a basket, Vinaya teaching, also explain compassion, renunciation, bodhicitta, or wisdom, emptiness. But the main content is the vows, right? So Abhidharma has a many subject. The mainly Abhidharma teach you how to realize the actual truth. It's very simple. In our daily life, what we have to do in order to be happy person? First, control your negative thoughts, anger, attachment, ego. Control. How we should control? You control yourself. Yes, you can. If you have a kind of commitments, vows, then these vows help you to control, not engage in negative action. This means first, the Vinaya practice. Second, yes, you always practice Vinaya. You are always being, you being a moral person. But the negative thoughts, you really fully control. Fully control. What you need to do? Then you need to do a lot of like a meditation. You need to practice the path to fully control. It doesn't mean it's completely finished, completely over. Fully control, then you need meditation. You need to practice, the bodhicitta, so and so. You fully control, but haven't get it off the root. Then third, you need to practice wisdom, particularly the mind which realizes emptiness. That means control the negative thoughts, fully control or suppress, then eliminate. Even though just example of anger, if you are a very angry person, you fight with someone, you kill somebody. If you has taken vows, when you get angry, you should think, I want to hit the person, I want to fight the person, I will kill the person, this and that. It will stop because you have a vows. Then anger, not let it arise so strongly. You control there. Then second, you practice compassion. That you cultivate compassion, particular this person, then you can see the anger is really, coming down. Yeah, but there's a, kind of chance to arise again, because the root is there, which is the ignorance. So our daily life, we need to practice the 3 mind trainings. So also I think Buddha Shakyamuni, the first time when he trained the wheel of Dharma, first he advised, he didn't talk about the Four Noble Truths. He advised how to wear the monk robe, clothes. Also, in the ancient time, when you look at the Buddhist monk and the Hindu's monk, the robe is very similar at the beginning. After Buddha, Buddha Shakyamuni, then he advised. So we must differentiate the Hindu monk and Buddhist monk who follow me, who follow Hinduism. Then you can see, the monk robe has a different, like a shape. And the Hindu tradition, all the Hindu saint, they keep hair. They didn't cut the hair. And Buddha said, all the people who follow me, they must cut their hair, change their lifestyle. Therefore, at the beginning, he taught the sutra baskets. The second, he taught first the Vinaya basket, for very simple words. The second, sutra basket. Then look at among the Four Noble Truths. First truth, impermanence, suffering. Mean practice impermanence. Meditate on sufferings. Then next he said, selflessness, emptiness. You can see at the beginning, he already put the foundation. First, Vinaya. Second, Sutra practice. Third, the Abhidharma. Okay, so this is for you. I cannot explain all the Abhidharma. There is a lot of books. Any question?
Sheila, thank you.
Good morning, Geshe-la. Good morning, Geshe-la.
Good morning.
Elaine here.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to ask Geshe-la, in terms of sickness, like one who has fallen sick, like the elderly parents who do not engage in Dharma, or friends who had got cancer, what Geshe-la would advise, what are the strong causes to create to help them reduce their pain and suffering? Geshe-la, please advise. Thank you.
Yes, I think we can do a lot of things for them, benefit for the elderly people, who has a serious sickness. But in order to reduce the physical, pain. So we, through our chanting, recitation, it's so difficult to reduce the physical, sufferings. They have a very strong pain here and there. So without giving, without teaching Dharma for them, then you can teach a very simple kind of practice. Simple practice. If they have a little knowledge about Dharma, you can ask them practice Tonglen, giving and taking, giving and taking. So normally when we take all the sufferings from other. When we give out all the happiness, all the positive things others. This person case is exception. So when they practice taking, taking all the happiness, all the goodness, give all your suffering, give away, not give to others. Just give away. Taking all the happiness, good things, giving away all your suffering. If the person practice this kind of practices, they can reduce the strong pain. For example, whenever I need to take the injection, people feel scared because they know it's quite difficult to take it. So when I sit on the chair, for recently, I went for the COVID vaccination. I sit on the chair. I try to recognize whom I am. Then this is a part of my body. It is not me. When somebody inject in my shoulder, you should not think, I feel pain. Also, then you need to, I always try to reflect on me, where I am, who I am. It helps you to reduce, physical sufferings. So it depends on the person. Ask them to, practice giving and taking and giving. And also ask the person when they feel, stomping our head or, shoulder or any parts of body, just ask the person, watch, where's the pain? Who experience, who feel the pain and sufferings? Need to reflect. Then it reduce the physical pain. From outside, we can do a lot of recitation, like particularly the Medicine Buddha mantra, with the visualizing the nectar, blessing, energy descending from Buddha or Medicine Buddha dissolving the person's body. It also helps. During the Cultural Revolution in Tibet, there was a monk. So he was, I told you this story, he was taking for, I think it was assassinate. Yeah, he was taking for like killing. He made a request to the Chinese soldier, can I have a short time to do one chanting? The Chinese soldier said, okay, you can have a time to do chanting. So he chanted from the Guru Yoga. So he chanted, the actual meaning is, oh my kind Guru, today I will take all the suffering from my mother sentient being. And all the sufferings today, repent on me. Today I will give all my happiness, joyness to other sentient beings. So he repeat these words for a few times. Then he asked, now you can kill me. That time, even though the blood, I think, go through the head or body, I don't think the monk can feel the sufferings. He feel very happy and joy because he practiced giving and taking. Yeah, so the practicing giving and taking is very important. If the person know the little bit about emptiness, also is very good practice to reduce the sufferings. Yes, next question, please.
Geshe-la, is physical pain considered an inner or outer condition? Would like to
Go ahead.
would like to seek your advice. How does one create the right causes and condition to cope with this physical pain, especially when the person is suffering from constant chronic pain due to cancer?
The first, the physical suffering is considered the inner sufferings because it linked with our feeling. Because the body is, we call the internal, like a form. The sound, smell, we consider is an external form. The physical body is the inner form. The physical suffering also is the inner suffering, is linked with our feeling and emotions. For example, Buddha Shakyamuni lifetime, he was meditating in the forest. Then one of the, I think the princess, stayed with the practitioner Arun. She was also doing meditation. Then the king come, they saw, his daughter is stayed with the practitioner. Then he asked, Who are you? He said, I'm practitioner. What do you practice? He said, I practice patience. Patience. Then the king cut one hand. Asked, what do you practice? I practice patience. The king cut another hands. Same answer. Cut the 4 legs. Same answer. Right? Therefore, if you fully control your emotion, then the chronic, the serious illness cannot really consider as a serious sickness. Therefore, it's so important control our emotions. If you're able to control your emotions, doesn't matter what kind of sickness you have, you cannot really feel the sufferings. When you say, suffering mean, again, it's part of, you have a lot of increase your emotion. Control emotion, there's no such as say, chronic sickness. First, control your emotion. Everybody have to control our emotion. Second, the right and complete cause to reduce the physical sufferings. Generally, definitely, we need to take the right medicine. The complete mean, if this doctor say you take the medicine for 3 times a day, we must. For 1 month, we must complete, follow the doctor advice, the external condition. The second, also, you have to be positive. Be positive. Should not lose your hope. Should not consider it is incurable sickness. You must, even the doctor say it cannot cure. You must think it's going to cure. I can cure. It can be cured. Be positive. Fully be positive is the right in the complete cause to reduce your physical suffering. Also, must you take the complete medicine, complete treatment. So I think I don't have a right, the precise answer this your question, but I think this is quite good. Any question?
Yeah, Geshe-la, should wisdom come first before we enter into compassion, awakening mind, and skillful means? How to become a wise person in this era?
You are right. There's two different kind of tradition. The teaching, the lineage come through Buddha and Manjushri. Then I think all the way to Nagarjuna, then all the way to Tibet, like Lama Tsongkhapa. Right? Until the Atisha, the two lineage exist separately. Then Atisha compound these two lineage together. But when he present the teaching, he presents separately. But they compound together, but separate. Because the lineage come from Manjushri. First, you must have a wisdom, realize emptiness. Then you can enter into great compassion. Other lineage come from Maitreya Buddha, then Asanga. For them, first you practice compassion, bodhicitta, then wisdom. It depends on the, it very much depends on person, individual. For example, somebody say, oh, you can be Buddha, practice Dharma. First you practice compassion, love. The person won't ask question. The person practice compassion, love, no question about achieving Buddhahood, becoming Buddha, no question. Somebody say, can I be Buddha? Can I be Buddha or not? Ask question. In order to have a right answer, then say, okay, you can be Buddha. How? Eliminate ignorance. How? Ignorance is the mistaken mind. How? The ignorant, perceive things as independent. Actually, it is dependent. Realize emptiness. Realize emptiness, particularly realize the emptiness of the mind. Then you can see my actual mind can be separated from the negative thoughts. So it depends on somebody can realize emptiness, enter into compassion. Somebody cultivate compassion, they slowly enter into emptiness. There's a two different lineage. Also, wise person, very intelligent person will realize emptiness and practice compassion. Not intelligent person, at first practice compassion, bodhicitta, then realize emptiness. It depends on the practitioner. Okay, so now it's more than 11:30. We can stop our class today here. So today, my main kind of teaching for you as a beginner. Your lifestyle, your life compound with the Dharma. Dharma must compound with your life. You should not see life is life, Dharma is Dharma. If you see life is life, so you never try to change yourself. If you say Dharma is Dharma, life is life, then you cannot see the link life and Dharma. So that means when you're in the temple, you can be a very good person. When you get out from the temple, you become very naughty person because you cannot compound life and Dharma. That means life means Dharma, Dharma means life. You must always put these two together in your daily life. So thank you so much for attending the Sunday class. Have a happy Sunday. At the end, we do dedication. First, we dedicate the merit of becoming Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Shaje wadang chujin shebadang jesu yirang gulyen sowa gewa junze dagi jizaba tamje zobe changchu chenpo. Second, we dedicate the merit to benefit all sentient beings. Particularly, we dedicate the merit for world peace, peace in all countries. Jide yambe yaban tanje do mingne chune zase zaden matru muke guba gunje ne tsire ne me de ye denbo. In order to achieve Buddhahood, in order to benefit all sentient beings, particularly in order to have a peace with all countries, it is so important to flourish the Buddha teachings in 10 directions. Last, we dedicate that merit to flourish the Buddha teaching in 10 directions. Dona balde la me kuze den kejun den zen zambu sa den dembe jinda nga dan darwai tube demba yure ne gyurji. Thank you. Have a happy Sunday.